welcome to my YouTube channel, and today we are going to look at how I tune my toms. I've had a couple of students buy new kits recently, and I've noticed they have tuned their toms really tight, like a timbali or something. So really this video demonstrates that you don't have to tighten your skins on your tom or your drum head on your toms too tight. So I'm going to go through the process that I use. Now here we have one of my toms, a 10-inch tom. I've got my drum key, and we've got the drum head, drum skin, the hoop, and the tension rods. Okay, so I'm going to quickly do this. Hopefully it won't take too much time. I'm going to undo all of the tension rods and start from scratch. So it's a bit of a demo on how to take off the drum skin as well if you ever need to change your drum head. So I've loosened all those. You can take the hoop straight out. And there we have our hoop, and we have our skin, and we have our shell of our drum. Now, while I do this, notice the bottom head I've put down on this pad, and it stops it from resonating, from making a noise, and that's what you want to be able to do when you're tuning, one of the drum skins. You don't want the other one getting in the way with its own frequency. Okay, so either putting it down on the bed or on carpet or whatever. So here we go. I've put the skin back on. You see, that's pretty easy. You put your tension rod on, and then all I do is basically tighten these tension rods so that they just grab in the thread there. And I'm not tightening them really at all. I'm just sort of letting them get in there and settle by themselves, right? So once I've done that, it's going to sound pretty flat and ordinary, and we're going to give it some life by tuning these nice and evenly and properly. Now you notice I've got a little bit of gaffer tape here. I'm going to take that off, and we're going to discuss why that's on there in a moment at the last part of this tutorial. Okay, so I've got my tension rods in there. I've barely tightened them, but this is how I go about getting a nice even tension and a nice sound out of my toms. I'll now go with thumb and forefinger, grab those tension rods, one on this hand and the direct opposite one on the other hand, and I'll tighten them as tight as I can with my fingers. Then I'll just spin it around, do the next one. It doesn't take long before I can't tighten those anymore. Now, once I've done that, you could grab the drum key and start tuning, fine tuning or tuning, but I don't. I usually now go grab the palm of my hand, and I just press ever so slightly and then give it an extra little bit of a turn, and then I'll do the opposite. Then I'll usually go to the right, and I'll do that one, and then I go opposite. Okay, so I've gone there, there, there. Now I'll go over there, and then I'll go over there. You might find that you don't even get too much more of a tightening of that tension rod. Now that's finger tight for me. This is how much I use the key. I literally place it on the tension rod, and in this case I might go 1/8 of a turn and no more. Then I'll go opposite, 1/8 of a turn, to the right, 1/8 of a turn, opposite, 1/8 of a turn, to the right, 1/8 of a turn, opposite, 1/8 of a turn, and I'm back to where I began. That's all I do with how much I tighten it with the drum key. It's very little. Now, let's have just a bit of a look at what frequency and tone each one of these tension rods are at. So we can do that by just tapping on the drum skin just in front of each tension rod, and we'll get an idea if they're sort of even or if one or two of them are sounding a bit different. Or would you believe that every one of those tension rods are pretty much exactly the same? You would find that sometimes one of those tension rods, or both, are a little bit off. You know, one might be, for example, I'll give you an example. I'll detune that one an eighth, and we'll go to that one. It's about a semitone out. So if that's the case, what will happen is it'll sound a little bit wobbly with its frequency when you hit it. It'll sort of have a bit of a wobble to it. That's not a great sound. We don't want a vibrato in our drum. So I'll go back an eighth. But that was amazing, actually. That and you can hear it's a real flat sound. But that was amazing how that just was perfect. And that's testament to this drum. It's a very nice drum, these Premier Genistas maple drums, and it's well put together. So it's a very easy drum to tune and very balanced. So there we have our drum skin on the drum and tuned to perfection, or the way I like it anyway. Now, what happens with the bottom skin is up to you, but the way I like to tune the bottom skin compared to the top is I tune the bottom skin a little bit tighter, because what that does is it allows the sound of the drum to sort of resonate a bit more and give a nice full sound. So when you hit that drum skin from the top here, that vibrates, pushes the air down, and this skin acts like a bit of a trampoline, and it pushes the air back up, and that one then acts like a trampoline. It goes down, up, down, up, down. And there's some air holes. There's one air hole somewhere, there it is. And the air comes out of there, and eventually the sound dissipates and you don't hear it. But if that skin was too low in comparing it to this one, then the sound might not resonate for as long, and it might not be a nice full sound. It'll just sort of fade off pretty quickly. And if that's a sound you like, go for it. It's not something that suits my ear, so I just tend to tighten that one up a little bit tighter. Anyway, let's see what it is. So I've got that one down flat. We'll now tap the skin. There you have that frequency. Excuse the car or truck that's just pulled into the court there. And there you can see and hear that frequency is a little bit higher. So it should promote a nice full sound, which it does. Okay, so the gaffer, where did I put that? There it is. Let's go with the gaffer, and we're going to find out why I put that gaffer on in the first place. So if you want to say you don't like the overtones that you're getting from the top skin or the bottom skin, you can see that I've got a piece of gaffer on the bottom skin as well. Then you can sort of deaden that sound by applying a bit of a muffle, whether or not it's a bit of gaffer, or you can get some of these drum gels or what have you. So in the way I find out that dead spot is I use my thumb going around the drum skin until I see that it has the most effect, and I'll show you. So I tap the middle of the drum. You can hear the tone resonating out there, the overtones. Now if I put my thumb there, it makes a difference. Now we're going to go around. That wasn't much of a difference that time. And I'm going to find where it makes the biggest difference reckon that sounds pretty good. And I think we're just about around the edge now, so around the circumference. So I'm going for about there. That definitely made a substantial sort of cut in those overtones. So what I do then is I put my gaffer tape. Where did I put that gaffer tape now? Gosh, I'm losing my mind. Okay, we'll get another bit of gaffer tape. I'll look back on this video and go, there it is. So here we go. Here's a bit of gaffer tape. It's going to take the place of what my thumb was doing just then. And I'm going to just curl over a couple of little sort of lips in there, couple of little sort of rolls. And what that does, it sort of just, maybe allows some of those overtones to sort of get absorbed a bit more. So I've put the gaffer tape there, and the reason we use gaffer tape is, it's musician's tape. It fixes everything, but it's thick and it has that effect where it can really absorb some of these overtones. So now that that's there, it will create a real more of a punchy sound and cut some of those overtones out. So that's how I tune my drums, my toms anyway. There is a different process that I go about with tuning my snare and my bass drum, but for my toms, it's exactly the same for every tom. I barely use the drum key whatsoever to tune it. It's more of an eighth of a turn, at max really, and then just a very fine tune to get everything sounding nice and balanced and even with the pitch. And there we have it. So don't over tighten your toms and your skins and on the toms, and enjoy the sound of those drums resonating beautifully. Thanks for watching. I hope that gives you some tips to getting great sounding drums, and I'll see you next time.